Now at 5, authorities in Galena, Kansas released the name of the victim of a shooting last night. Plus, the Wildcat Glades Friends Group hosts a program aimed at teaching adults about safely foraging. And
the clock is ticking on the temporary freeze limiting the availability of mifepristone. I'm Nicole Skanga at the Supreme Court, where justices weigh in on access to a medication used in more than half of abortions nationwide.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
We now know the name of the victim in a fatal overnight shooting in Galena, Kansas. This is KOAM News at 5. I'm Dow Quick. Authorities say 27-year-old Levi Porter of Riverton was shot and killed last night in Galena. Happened around 9 p.m. on the 800 block of Columbus Avenue. Sheriff David Groves says Cherokee County emergency medical personnel tried to revive Porter but were unsuccessful. Sheriff Groves says authorities arrested 49-year-old Billy Barker from Galena at the scene. He's now at the Cherokee County Jail on pending charges of second-degree murder. Kansas Governor Laura Kelly today signed into law a bill designating hundreds of acres in Allen County as a state park. The 360 acres known as the Lehigh property includes a lake, a cave, and more than 14 miles of existing trails. Plans for the state park include a visitor center, RV hookups, floating cabins, and primitive campsites. It's now the state's 28th state park. The Wildcat Glades Friends Group hosted a foraging class in the spirit of Earth's Month. Bo Brown, an author with more than 30 years of wilderness experience, led a group through the trails gathering edible plants. Brown talked about which native or invasive plants are safe to eat.
Only a handful of plants that will actually do you in if you eat them. And they're in the carrot family for the most part. There's another wildflower that's actually woods bunch flower, some people call it.
Brown plans to have more foraging classes in the future. Cloudy day out there. Let's check in with Chief Meteorologist Doug Heddy.
Yeah, cloudy, very windy across the region. We've had winds gusting 40 to 45, and also we're tracking a few thunderstorms out to our west, but wind advisory in effect. This is going to go until 8 a.m. tomorrow morning. We do have a lot of clouds, nothing really underneath the clouds, but you can see a couple tornado watches, one northeastern Kansas down through central Oklahoma. I want to watch these storms in central Oklahoma to see if a few of them can get into southeastern Kansas and also northeastern parts of Oklahoma a little bit later on this evening. The evening hours look fine, just windy. We're sitting into the mid 70s right now. Look at those southerly winds, 20 to 30, and of course gusts have been much higher than that. We also have a strong cold front heading toward us. I'm going to break it all down for you here in just a bit.
See you soon. Today is the 28th anniversary of the Oklahoma City bombing. On April 19th of 1995, a rental truck filled with explosives was detonated outside the Alfred P. Murrah Federal Building. It killed 168 people, including 19 children, and injured several hundred more people. 2 former U.S. Army soldiers, Timothy McVeigh and Terry Nichols, were convicted of the attack. A remembrance ceremony was held this morning at the Oklahoma City National Memorial and Museum. All eyes are on the U.S. Supreme Court as the justices face a midnight deadline to decide the fate of one of the most popular abortion pills on the market. Reporter Nicole Skanga has more details from the Supreme Court.
The Supreme Court has extended its deadline to decide whether to keep a commonly used abortion pill on the market. Justice Samuel Alito extended a stay until Friday, giving them more time to consider whether to uphold the decision of a federal judge in Texas to revoke FDA approval for mifepristone.
We are prepared for any outcome the Supreme Court may issue, and we are prepared for a long legal fight if necessary.
Judge Matthew Kaczmarek, a Trump appointee, ruled that the FDA improperly approved the drug 23 years ago. An appeals court later ruled that mifepristone's approval should stand, but that amended rules allowing the prescription to be given without seeing a doctor should be halted.
That was the rule up until the Biden administration. The Fifth Circuit just said that's the rule that ought to stand. That seems very reasonable to me.
6 of the 9 judges on the Supreme Court are conservative. That makeup led to the overturning of Roe versus Wade, but that doesn't mean that the majority here will side with the Texas judge who initially issued this ruling.
The justices have typically not been very lenient on cases where there doesn't seem to be legal standing for the challenges. To get a case into federal court, you have to show you've suffered some harm and have a stake in the case. That may be tough to prove when the drug has already been on the market for more than 2 decades. Critics say allowing the mifepristone ruling to stand may open the courts up to all kinds of new challenges. Nicole Skanga, CBS News, the Supreme Court.
The judge who issued the mifepristone ruling is under scrutiny after the Washington Post found that he had removed his name from a controversial legal journal article during his confirmation process. He won that confirmation vote, putting him in a lifetime judicial position. Still ahead, old solutions for new problems.
Disposable diapers pile up in landfills, but an old-fashioned approach offers a green alternative. I'm Bradley Blackburn with the effort to make cloth diapers more convenient for parents.
And next in Health Watch, what a new study shows about the long-term neurological effects of COVID-19. Topping today's Health Watch, the FDA has authorized a second dose of the bivalent COVID-19 vaccine for those 65 and older, at least 4 months after their first shot. The new rules also allow those with weakened immune systems to receive a second dose at least 2 months after their first. And going forward, all COVID vaccines will use the bivalent formula, protecting against the first strain and the Omicron variant. A new study finds the severity of what's known as long COVID, now occurring in about 1/3 of survivors, depends on the initial illness. Reporter Naomi Ruckham spoke with a mom in Michigan.
3 years since her initial COVID infection, Sarah Bursma still has lingering symptoms.
Sometimes things don't smell at all or taste at all, and sometimes there's things that I'm smelling that aren't even there.
The mom of 3 also has bouts of fatigue and is more prone to respiratory illness.
I just have to watch it and be very careful and treat myself a different way than I used to.
Researchers at the Northwestern Medicine Neuro COVID-19 Clinic followed 600 long haulers. They found symptoms differ depending on the severity of the patient's COVID infection and whether they were hospitalized.
We saw that those patients who were previously hospitalized with severe pneumonia perform worse in tasks of processing speed, attention, and working memory.
More than 80% of patients in the study experienced brain fog, 70% had headaches, and more than half lost their sense of taste and smell. Bursma trained and ran in the Chicago Marathon last year, but believes her long COVID is here for the long run.
Do you anticipate having symptoms for even longer?
I, at this point, feel like what I have is not going to go away.
Bursma says she's grateful to feel mostly back to herself and has a new perspective on her health. Naomi Ruckham, CBS News, New York.
In that study, other long COVID symptoms included dizziness, insomnia, and depression or anxiety. Eating an unhealthy diet with foods like high-fat dairy, processed meats, and sweets might increase the risk of aggressive prostate cancer. A study of more than 15,000 men in Spain looked at the link between prostate cancer and diet. Researchers found those who followed Mediterranean diets filled with fish, vegetables, and olive oil saw no change in the risk of prostate cancer. But those who ate more Western-style diets saw a higher risk of the disease. All those calorie counts you see on menus, they're making a difference in terms of preventing obesity and cancer. In 2018, the FDA mandated restaurants include calories on their menus, and a new study at Tufts University finds that's led to a net decrease of 20 to 60 calories consumed per meal. Researchers estimate this could prevent at least 28,000 obesity-related cancer deaths and $2.8 billion in healthcare costs. And that is a look at today's health news. A little bit later, our Pet Vet on Call.
Hi, I'm Dr. Eva Dudek from Parsons Pet Hospital. Coming up, we're going to talk about having a box turtle for a pet.
Plus, we're tracking some thunderstorms out to our west. We're going to look at that coming up. Another mild and windy day for us today. A lot of clouds, but our temperatures still shot into the mid to upper 70s for afternoon highs. But you can see the mostly cloudy skies on our Indigo Sky Casino and Resort. Indigo just outside of Seneca, Missouri. Also, again, the allergy is very high, about at the top of the scale today and tomorrow. So if you are an allergy sufferer, you're going to definitely have those issues. All right, rainfall. We have the storm system moving in. We need the rain. We've only had 1/1700ths of an inch at the airport for the month of April. For the year, we're at 7.7, but we have dropped over 2 inches behind, which isn't good. We don't want to slide right back into that drought as we get into the summer months. 75 Carthage, 77 in Bonita, Chanute at 78. We have Anderson sitting at 73. We can go outside, 7th and Range Line sitting at 76. Look at the sustained winds at 26, and of course gusts have been much higher than that. So we have these strong southerly winds. That's why we have the wind advisory, and then we are getting those gusts way up there. Look at this, 40 upwards to about 45 miles per hour at times, may even push 50 in some spots. So the winds are going to stay very strong through the evening into the overnight hours. These winds kind of gusting in that 45 upwards to 50 mile per hour range. Once we get into tomorrow morning, still windy, but we'll get a cold front that slides through and our winds will start to slack off just a little bit. All right, a lot of clouds, nothing underneath the clouds here, but you can see thunderstorms starting to get going out across parts of Kansas, down through Oklahoma. So we have these storms building northeastern Kansas, one little guy just to the west of Wichita. I want to see where these go because these are going to lift northeast. And if they can hold together, we'll get some thunderstorms in here late this evening in about 4 or 5 hours on the Kansas and the Oklahoma side. But that's an if they can hold together. So let's go through the evening hours, dry. But here's a few of those storms trying to get in here. So here's 10 p.m. as we get to 11 to midnight, and then they will start to fall apart after midnight as all the big time severe weather stays to our north and to our west. As that cold front approaches us in the morning, then we're going to have those chances for a little bit more widespread rain, 9 a.m., 11 a.m., and then tapering right back off tomorrow afternoon. So we'll see if we can get a few thunderstorms in here late this evening. As the front approaches, here's 8 a.m., scattered showers and thunderstorms develop along the front, nothing strong or severe. But once we get into the afternoon, especially our eastern counties, these will start to ramp up a little bit. So here's 1 p.m., and then most of the severe weather is going to be Springfield off toward the east across central Missouri. We break out into the lower 70s for highs. We get some clouds in here on Friday. The cool air starting to work in, so not as warm as we go into Friday with high temps, mainly into the mid 60s. 74 tomorrow, 65 on Friday. Saturday, chilly, high of only 57, 62 on Sunday. Sunday morning, we dipped to 35, so we're going to have to watch that and see if we get near a frost. So that's something we want to watch over the next couple days. Rain chances again for us next week.
Yeah, 35, not quite as bad as it had been looking, but still pretty cold.
Yeah, it is.
Thanks, Doug. Coming up, why airline industry experts are worried the nation's pilot shortage could soon get worse. Topping today's Consumer Watch, an airline industry leader is warning of a, quote, coming tsunami of pilot retirements that'll further the nation's pilot shortage. An official with the Regional Airline Association told a House committee today the pilot shortage has resulted in a collapse of air service nationwide. 42 states have less airline service now than they did before the pandemic. As families look to make more environmentally friendly choices, an old-fashioned idea is making a comeback. Disposable diapers wind up in landfills, while cloth diapers present a greener alternative. As Bradley Blackburn reports, companies are trying to make them more convenient for busy parents.
Every parent knows that a new bundle of joy comes with other bundles too. Dirty diapers headed for landfills.
I think it is pretty scary to think about the fact that that first disposable diaper is still sitting in a landfill somewhere.
Nina Lassam is helping families make a greener choice. She owns Diaper Kind, a New York-based service delivering a cloth alternative to front doorsteps.
So this is where the route bins are prepared.
For about $40 a week, the company supplies 90 organic cotton diapers to customers like Lara Sati Vito, mother of 8-week-old Matisse.
For us, it's Tuesday evening, so they come and pick up all the used diapers.
The company takes the soiled diapers to wash, pH test, and inspect for stains, then returns them to be used again.
I think it's important to try and minimize our waste whenever we can. And when you think that a newborn especially uses more than 10 diapers, I think that there's really something that we can do there to kind of do better.
According to the EPA, disposable diapers account for more than 4 million tons of municipal waste every year. They can take up to 500 years to decompose. Companies similar to Diaper Kind are working to make cloth diapers popular again with modern designs and systems to help parents who prefer to do their own laundry. Lassam, a mom herself, says cloth diapers can also help potty training happen earlier.
That's one of the huge cost savings of cloth diaper services, is that you use them for a much shorter amount of time.
And bottom line, she says, it's leaving the planet a little cleaner for generations to come. Bradley Blackburn, CBS News, Brooklyn, New York.
Diaper Kind says last year alone they helped keep 1 million diapers out of landfills. Netflix is shutting down its DVD rental business after a 25-year run. This fall, the streaming giant will officially say goodbye to its DVD rental service and all the red envelopes that made it possible. The company tweeted that it'll send out its last red envelope on September 29th. It has reportedly mailed out more than 5 billion DVD and Blu-ray rentals to subscribers across the U.S. since 1998. Our Pet Vet on Call next. Up next on the CBS Evening News, a top Pentagon official testifies before Congress about UFOs. Then on KOAM News at 6, authorities make another arrest related to the Missouri statewide Amber Alert issued Saturday night. Plus, Missouri Southern students share their findings at a research symposium, and a couple of local schools host signing days for student athletes. Stay with us for the CBS Evening News and then KOAM News at 6. Not all pets are furry or even warm-blooded for that matter. Today's question for our Pet Vet on Call: is it okay to keep a box turtle as a pet?
Yes, if you are committed to providing the proper resources and habitat for him. You need a good sized aquarium. A large aquarium, about 3 foot by 1 foot, is recommended. A proper substrate for him to get along on, even bury himself if he needs to. He needs ultraviolet light in there to mimic the sunlight. You need a cool side and a warm side so he can find the proper temperature for him. You need plants in there, you need hiding places in there, you need good nutritional food, and you need a shallow water source. These are not water turtles. Do not throw them in an aquarium full of water. They need a shallow water source so they can drink water and cool off a little bit if they get in there. Husbandry is total key, and there are all sorts of advices and helpful hints on the internet and in books. So get that. If you're willing to do that, then yes. If you can't provide all of that, then no, it's not okay to have a box turtle as a pet.
We invite questions from anyone. If you have a question, you just send it to petvet@koamtv.com. Dr. Eva Dudek from the Parsons Pet Hospital answers a different question or brings us a fun fact every Wednesday on KOAM News at 5. You can also find answers to previous questions on our website. Let's check out our picks of the litter for the week. From the Joplin Humane Society, we've chosen this adult female short-haired cat. Her name is Squeakers. And from the Southeast Kansas Humane Society, we have a 4-month-old black lab retriever mix. Looks like his ears might blow in the wind. His name is Voodoo. If you're looking for a pet, why not check out your local Humane Society? This is dog ear blowing kind of weather out there. It is really breezy.
We got the wind for you this evening into the overnight hours tonight. The winds will start to calm down a bit for us tomorrow. Also, we're tracking a few thunderstorms that could affect us late this evening and then again tomorrow morning into the early afternoon, but cooling down a bit, quite a bit actually, over the next couple days into the weekend.
Thanks for joining us. The CBS Evening News is next, and of course we're going to be right back here for KOAM News at 6. We'll see you then. Let's make it a great evening.